Hi guys! I don't know why I was so excited there. Oh my god. Anyways, I had like all the energy. But anyways, hello! Welcome back to my channel. Hope everybody's doing well today. I just got off a virtual happy hour with a bunch of women in the travel advisor community. So I decided that I wanted to do a little video about assumptions that people make about travel advisors or travel agents, because there are a lot of assumptions and people don't really know what we do, or why we do it or how it works. And so I just want to talk about these assumptions and bust some myths and crank it out, y'all. I've had a few glasses of wine. Well, one glass of wine is my second. But yeah, so it was a great little virtual happy hour with the Niche by Teak community. I will link that down below if you guys don't know anything about it, but it was absolutely lovely to be a part of. Lots of really strong, great travel advisors who are really good at what they do in this community. So I'm really excited to have been able to chat with all of them and to see this community grow. So yeah, let's get into the assumptions that people make about travel advisors. Before we get any further, you can cut that little awkward thing. Before we get any further, if you guys wouldn't mind subscribing and liking this video, it would mean the absolute world to me. Let's dive in. Okay, so I'd have to say that I think the number one assumption people make about travel advisors is that we only book all-inclusive. And I don't really know why. I feel like all-inclusives are probably the easiest thing to book, maybe because there's so many of them, people just think that we would know what's in the budget the best, or I don't know. But yeah, people assume we only book all-inclusives, which absolutely is not the case. I probably book 10% all-inclusives and 90% European travel, or Maldives, and Maldives isn't always all-inclusive. So yeah, no, not all-inclusive. It depends on what your specialty is. Sure, there are plenty of agents who specialize in all-inclusive, and that's great. But my specialty, I would say, is what I like to call rugged luxury, which is not all-inclusive. It is people who want to adventure and to see the outdoors and the ruggedness the adventure somewhere has to offer, but they also want to do that in luxury. They don't want to have to poop in the woods and, share a bath, or not even that, have to share a bath with other people. They want to have nice things. They want to feel taken care of. They want to have a bathtub or a jacuzzi, or a private pool or something like that. But they really do want to be able to experience nature and to go hiking if they want. They want the best of both worlds. And I can't say I blame them, because that's how I am when I travel. So that is kind of my specialty, which is not all-inclusive by any means. So yeah, next time you go to your travel agent, don't assume that she's just booking you all-inclusive. Okay, the next assumption that I think everybody makes, and this is probably might be more assumed than the first one, is that it costs more to use a travel agent than if you booked it yourself. And the answer to that is no. And the reason I say that is, while yes, sometimes it might cost the same amount to use a travel agent, and maybe slightly more, I would say most of the time it's either the same or less, especially when it comes to destination specific places. I would say Europe, it probably costs the same to use a travel agent or to book on your own. But Maldives, I know for a fact I can get better rates than somebody that books direct. It's just because we have those relationships with the hotels. There's a lot of destinations that are like that. Maldives are probably the biggest one, because usually the differences are thousands of dollars that people wouldn't get. And a lot of times if you see these deals online that are oh, book today, get this deal, this airfare package, blah, 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 for $4,000 or whatever it is, and it's an Expedia or a Kayak or something like that, read the fine print. I'm just going to ask you to read the fine print, because a lot of times it is not refundable or cancelable, changeable, or any of that. So just be very careful and very hesitant when you book these, because yes, that might be a better rate than your travel agent could get, but you also might get screwed over in the long run. So just be wary when booking things like that. The next assumption people make, and it's not really an assumption, but it's kind of like a question we get a lot, is people ask, you can't possibly have been to every country, to every city, to every destination, to every hotel, so you must just, how do you pick the right place? And the answer to that is between our entire team, between our entire community, between all of our clients of our entire team, we have been to most places that are worth booking. So if I haven't been there personally, somebody else on my team probably has, or I've had a client who's been there, or they've had a client who's been there. So chances are we've had personal feedback. We've had somebody on the ground there who will give us actual real life human feedback. And that's how we're able to go everywhere. Okay. The next assumption is from people who have already been to a place, and they like to say, if I'm familiar with a destination, I should just book an Airbnb there. Yes and no. Especially these days, I lean against Airbnbs. I'm not saying I don't stay there. I stayed at one in Scotland, but it was one that had a lot of good reviews and was also like part of a farm stay that they just rented this part out on Airbnb. Just because you know a place doesn't mean you should stay in Airbnb. I wholeheartedly think that hotels have a lot to offer, so do Airbnbs, but depending on the type of travel you want, depends on whether you should book an Airbnb or not. And also your travel agent, a lot of the times, they can't book an Airbnb, but they can book homestays or villas, just depending on where you're going. So just assume because you want the Airbnb vibe, doesn't mean you can't get that by using a travel agent. The next thing that people assume about travel agents is there's just no point to use one because you can just book it yourself. And yeah, of course, you could say that about anything. You could do your taxes yourself. I mean, I know people do their taxes themselves, but I'm not one of those people. You could doctor yourself. There's lots of services. You could cut your own hair. There's lots of services that you could do, that you pay for, that you could do yourself. But do you? No, because you go to an expert to do it. And I know travel is a little bit different and people think that they want to have their own experience. They want to do something different. And I get that because I want all my clients to have a different experience. I want to have a different experience. However, we are experts in the industry. And I don't say that to be like, I'm a travel expert, but I am. That is what I do. That is what I'm paid to do. I am a travel advisor. And yes, you can book it yourself, but that doesn't mean you're going to get the best rates. That doesn't mean you're going to get the best location. That doesn't mean you're going to get the best restaurants. And it doesn't mean that you're going to get the most for your money. It depends on how much you value your time, because I'm here to tell you, it takes a lot to plan a trip and it takes a lot of time on your day. So if you have the time and you want to do the research, then by all means, I fully support it. But for people who don't have the time to do that, but want to fully be able to enjoy their trip, there's a lot more that goes to being into a travel agent besides just clicking book on any random hotel. And I don't know that people always understand that. So I wanted to bust that myth for you. Okay, the final thing I think that people assume the most about travel agents is that we only work with hotels, flight consolidators, etc., who pay us the most commission. Obviously, we're here to make money, so we have to make money somehow, and that's usually through commission. However, just because a vendor is going to pay us more commission than somebody else doesn't mean we're going to work them. I'm always going to book the place for my clients that is the best. I have skipped out on commissions before because I knew that somewhere else was a better fit, and that place wasn't going to pay me a commission. But I was like, this is where my clients will want to stay. This is what they want to book. And I will find another way to make the money on this trip. Whether that be from concierge services or anything. I have literally cut my commission in half before because I wanted to make a client happy. So you can't tell me that we're going to go with the vendor that's going to give us the most commission, because that's absolutely not true. I usually just assume every vendor pays 10, and if they do, or if they don't, if they pay more, if they pay less, then that's great. And maybe that's a bad way to run my business, but I try not to let the commission influence my decision when I'm booking my clients somewhere to stay. All right, y'all, this one was short and sweet, and that is it for today. But I really just did want to quickly bust these myths about travel agents and the assumptions that people have. Because I think, especially in a world of coronavirus and a world that we have survived a global pandemic, that it's more important than ever if you want to travel to use a travel agent. Because it's the non-tangibles. Traveling is no longer just booking a hotel, getting on a flight, and going. There's so much more to it that a travel advisor is able to assist with than most people realize. And I think that's because a lot of people haven't traveled internationally since the pandemic started. And that's okay. Everybody needs to start traveling at their own pace. I don't want to rush anybody into traveling. However, I do want people to think about what travel means now, because travel in 2021 and looking forward into 2022 is not the same as it was pre-pandemic. It's just not. And if you're not prepared to wear a mask for 12 hours on an international flight, if you're not prepared to get COVID tests before and after you travel, then you need to reconsider where you're traveling to. Maybe it's not the time for you to travel internationally. Maybe you should just be traveling domestically. But people don't necessarily think about these things. I mean, I don't know anybody who hasn't traveled recently who has thought about the fact that when I travel back and forth, that I'm wearing a mask for literally 16 hours straight. And it sucks. I'm not gonna lie to you. Wearing a mask for that long is awful. But it is, first of all, the law. And second of all, that's just the way of life now. So it's just something to think about. And along with that, service is not what it used to be. So be prepared for that. I just want to manage expectations for everybody. That's all. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It'd mean the world to me if you gave this video a thumbs up and commented down below if you've used a travel agent or maybe what your assumptions are about travel agents. Maybe I can help debunk a few of these myths for you. And please, please, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It would mean the world to me, and it really helps small YouTube channels like mine to grow and take off. So thank you guys again so much, and I'll see you next week.